the 119 machine, you can see Team Ernie the Badger.
We felt he let himself down. He let me down. He just let a lot of people down. We were disappointed. It was a disgrace.
So that's the fair end fitted. It was a bit difficult to get it on around here because of the way that it was a bit too thick and foul in the frame, so I was taking off what fiberglass I could. Ended up drilling and going through into the two fixing points underneath where the pillion seat would have fixed on. But now I've got to get the seat to fit. So at the moment, it sits on quite nicely there, but the seat should have two plastic extensions there with where the bolt goes through into here, and they're both snapped off. So I'm going to have a head scratch about how I'm going to fix that. I could get another seat off eBay, but I think I'm going to cut some aluminium with some holes in and see if I can rivet to the bottom. I'll have a little think about it, but we're nearly there. So here we are, almost built, not complete with the body work there, but I've just rolled it out the front to give it a little test ride. Reason being that the shock I've replaced is YSS Z series shock, and it doesn't appear to be a rebound damping whatsoever, regardless of setting. The supplier, who I'll let you guess who that is, has said, oh, it'll be fine, you just need to ride it, it's just it's stuck, to wind it in and out and ride it. So I'm going to do that and give it a test, and if it doesn't start working, I'll be putting the original back in and asking for a refund. So I think I'll get my helmet. I'll put my GoPro on my helmet so I can do a little ride with it on with an onboard ride. One more thing to mention, I didn't mention before, I replaced the throttle tube with aftermarket R6 one. So it's quick action throttle, where it's quarter turn throttle. It's only a 10 quid change, just to change the throttle tube. So it's slightly shorter throw than the original. Well, I'm not sure if my camera's working. I think the battery's dead. Might be talking to myself, it could be a short video, but this is just a quick run around the block just to see if everything works and see if the shock will start working. Feels fairly bouncy. Gears work, gear indicators work. Actually, quite surprisingly, the speedo works as well, despite the sensor being chewed up by the sprocket bolts from the previous owner. Fuel injection fault is there still, and that's from the removal of the pair valve system. I did buy a kit to remove that, but it didn't work, so I've taken it off and sent it back. So brand new brake pads front and rear, so they'll need some bedding in. Yeah, they're not great. Rear brake, yeah, rear brake works. That's all the way in, full damping. However, I do think it's looking rather sexy in the sunshine, even without the side panels on. So after the test drive earlier today, still a few little things to iron out. You know, spending 4 hours making something instead of spending 20 quid I'd have to pay a breaker for a used part. The seat tabs were broken off the back here, plastic tabs there that basically bolt into here. I'm like, yeah, I could buy a new one, but I'll see what I can do with this. So I've cut these bits out of aluminium, pop riveted them to the bottom of the seat, drilled holes where I thought was the right place, and then I had to drill another one, obviously. But I'll just show you. They will now just about go in these holes here. Bit of a pain in the bum, literally. Yeah, I remember having other GSX-Rs like this, never thought was a great idea. Look at the way I've got to fold the seat up. Anyway, these bolts go into those two bits there. Actually, is it going in? Yeah. So I've now got the seat secure and shouldn't fall off while I'm riding it. All screwed down, seat secure, side panels are on. Cosmetically, I reckon this needs some gold vinyl sticking on to hide this abomination. What do you reckon? Okay, fourth time I've recorded this. Screen recorder doesn't like me. But yeah, this is the budget. So I've split it out with the highest cost items at the top, the lower cost ones at the bottom. Maybe if I don't read everything out, but you can pause your video and look and see what I spent on what. But the bike cost us £1,000 from Facebook Marketplace. Set of wheels 325. The shock's pretty expensive at 277, especially considering it doesn't actually work. I'm going to see if I can exchange and get my money back. The PowerTech exhaust, which we have to use for free tech races, was 130, and I got the exhaust header from eBay. It's a Lextech one for 85. Fork springs 80 quid, emulators 70 quid, tires 60 quid. So all of the suspension stuff. Next build, I'm gonna just use the stock suspension and just adjust the fork oil and put some spacers in and just see how it is, because apparently it's pretty good as standard. So I've got 3 rear sprockets, 2 front sprockets, so 42 quid each for the sprockets, a battery, the shock linkage that was dead for 30 quid, the injector for 30 quid, and the swing arm for about 30 quid as well. Hand guard, then I've got service item, brake pads, chain, fork, paint, and moving down, various other bits and pieces from China. My screen's still recording. Race numbers, throttle tube I talked about, clutch adjustments that was bent. I'll let you read the rest. You can pause it and have a look if you're interested. But yeah, it was still nearly 2,700 on building a bike, when, as I say, you can get a Honda for less than 1,000. A few more adornments from AliExpress since last update. I said R&G, but it's GB Racing. I say GB Racing, it's not, it's clearly Chinese copies of, but better than nothing. So I've got some engine covers. I stuck some tank grips on. I thought these would be clear, but unfortunately they've got a white backing. And I've put a bit of a protection, just a bit of tube on there, try and protect the exhaust if it goes down. Bit of tube with like a Jubilee clip type thing on it. And I tried to cover up this abomination. They say you can't polish a turd, that's true, but you can stick some gold vinyl on it. There's a GB Racing cover on the other side. Still needs the riser plates to raise the foot pegs up, but with that I've made a little preparation for the gear linkage. So I've made a longer shift rod. This is from some 6mm. It actually turned out to be about 6.5mm. I had to turn the ends down slightly, and I've got a left hand threaded and right hand threaded die stock. So I put left hand on one end and right hand on the other end. So that should go there. I've worked out how much longer it needs to be so that it'll work like that when I eventually get the riser plates. And one more thing I may consider doing is taking a live feed and a neutral from what would have gone to the headlight and run that up on a plug to plug in the lap timer. So we've got 12 volts supplied to the lap timer. I might not. I might leave that for Paul to do. Greetings Internet, Mega Shed Diaries, 2nd of October 25. The GSX-S build is done, barring just raising the foot pegs, and I've got it ready for the owner's collection. We should be testing it out next weekend at Three Sisters. But new to the stable, thinking of changing the thinking of changing the channel name to Canal Salvage Racing. So I'll put on the glowing review from my friend Ian, from where I got this from at Lings, Halston.
So this is an absolute pile. I mean, it just needs to go in the skip.
He took this in a part exchange, so this is going to be the next build. Don't know whether you can take much more of this. Let me know in the comments, but I'll let you hear the engine. I think this is got a dead bottom end crank or main bearings. It's a bit difficult to tell on the video, but I'll play it. It's knocking like hell at the bottom. So the parts to replace that, I mean, I need to take it apart and inspect and see what's making the noise, but I think it's probably quite terminal, and I can't see anywhere to buy a crank like new for less than 300 quid. But yesterday I went and collected this engine from a salvage yard near Workshop, managed to get it for 200 quid. They say that there was bike was in a front end accident and there's nothing wrong with the engine, but we'll have to put it on and test it. And there's a possibility that I can sell the old one spares or repair for similar. The other good news is I managed to sell the headlight and surrounds for 110 quid yesterday, so that's half an engine. Let me know if you want to see more of the build of this one. Probably involve me taking an engine apart and having a look at it. Make a shit out.